Mr. Josh, I will let you, of course, take care of any questions in the chat. I will move that into the small corner here. I'm going to walk you guys through a couple of things. So obviously, I do not, of course, work with or work for FitHive, but me and Sunny have been friends for a very, very long time. And being able to kind of coach you guys through kind of what high ticket is and how to be able to sell high ticket is really the goal from this. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm nobody special. I'm Andrew from Fit for All. I run several companies. So we specialize in high ticket training with Fit for All Mobile Inc. We also help females with binge eating disorders with our Sustainable Health Project Academy, which is a separate business. And then I also have a supplement selling business called Clean Basix. So this isn't my first barbecue. I've definitely spent a lot of time selling high ticket programs. And after speaking with Sunny, I wanted to walk you guys through kind of what our process is and some of the best practices for, in fact, selling high ticket. So I ask if you guys have questions, just like write them down or even drop them in the chat, and I'll make sure we ask those and answer those along the way. So number one, let's talk about what high ticket is first. A lot of people don't even know like what the definition of this should be. And really, high ticket, to sum it all up, is whatever the hell you want it to be. It can be one-on-one coaching. It can be private group coaching. You can offer it virtual, automated, personal, touchless. High ticket is solely your belief in what your value is for yourself and what you can specifically sell to another person. A lot of people tend to think that high ticket depends on the cost. The truth is some people might think $400 is high ticket. Some people like me think less than $2,000 is not high ticket at all. So it really depends on what you are looking for and what you believe high ticket is. So the objective of selling somebody high ticket is really a couple goals, right? The objective of high ticket is not to focus on volume. People who do high ticket and try to do volume end up not being able to deliver to their clients properly. And at the end of the day, what you feel you can sell something for is 100% your confidence behind whether or not you can actually deliver what you're saying you're going to do. So objective of this, being able to over deliver to every client. I don't do volume because I like to send my clients gifts. I like to send my clients personalized videos. If my clients are struggling, I hop on random calls with them. I do that because that is I have the financial kind of gap in between my programs to basically be able to offer that. Selling high tickets is allowing you to charge what you're worth. So for the majority of you people watching this, you're probably around the $200 to $300 a month price point. If you're less than that, like you should reevaluate, because even with like group training stuff, I mean, there's just not the margins there anymore. But really, it's about being able to charge what you're worth and make that higher profit and having higher invested clients. Statistically speaking, people who spend more than $600 a month on their health and fitness commit to a program longer than 3 years. And this isn't just through Canadian stats. This is also through stats.eud, which is through the world. So globally speaking, if someone is investing more than $600 a month, they are more dedicated to their health and their fitness. So no more having these people paying you $40 a month that are like dropping off every other month. You're going to have someone that's going to stick with you long term, right? Selling high ticket allows you to scale repeatedly without large teams. And that's because you're not delivering to giant amounts of people. So like 600, 800 people at a time. Where I see a lot of the fall-off points is when people start to grow and scale their training business, it gets complicated as you start having team members specifically doing things. So you don't have to have 30 coaches where you can have one coach that can specifically deal with up to 75 people. And at the end, it's being able to take someone to their end destination. So selling high ticket is not selling a service which someone uses repeatedly. It's selling the solution to somebody's problem. So if it could be anything from weight loss to helping people better their sex drive to helping people gain muscle and build strength, whatever it is, you're selling the goal so that way they can feel confident to a point where they no longer need you. My clients don't stay with me because of the fact that they've like hit an end goal and they're done. They stay because they're like, wow, my life has changed so much. I want to continue to change to be better. So here is the step in the process in which we use at Fit for All to be able to basically take someone through, oh, let's go back there, to take someone through the actual sales process. So first you've got either that organic post or that ad. So this is where that person makes the commitment to click and to learn more. Then from there, we have them fill out an intake and a questionnaire form. So this is allowing me to do kind of a little bit of a pre-call on them and see, well, can I in fact help you, right? Like with Fit for All, we help strictly people with weight loss. I don't do bodybuilders, crazy stuff like that. I just do weight loss. So if someone is looking for something that I can't do, I cut the axe right there. I don't waste the time. Step 3, that 10 to 20 minute call, this is their pre-call. This is where it sets the expectations of what's going to happen for the sales call. The sales call, I basically just call the 60 because my sales call is 60 minutes. Step 4, this is where in between them speaking to me the first time and then speaking to either my salesperson or myself, I send them testimonials. I have them do homework. I have them already get invested in themselves. And then of course, step 5 is where you actually perform the 60 minutes and you build the problem and then you sell. So this is the process to doing high ticket efficiently. Where a lot of people fall off is a lot of people don't have a step 4, or they don't have a step 2 where they're not pre-qualifying the person that they're looking for. So when the person hops on the call, they might not be vested in you. You can do this organically, very successfully. You can also do this the cold call way. Like I specifically do only ads, and I've done only ads forever. The commitment is the same as long as you follow the process through the entire way. So where is it in that list? That's the first place that everyone makes a mistake in selling. So everyone tends to make the mistake during the pre-call. They do not set the expectations right. They do not ask the specific questions to knock the real problems away. And those problems will always come up in the sales call. So what is the job of good and solid pre-call? It's making sure that the client is serious, that you can in fact help them. Like that example I used, I only work with weight loss. If someone is looking to be a bodybuilder, I can't help you. This call is not about you trying to desperately take them to the sales call. It's about seeing, can I in fact help this person, and really grilling them to make sure that they want it. If someone is not a 10 out of 10, I'm ready to do this, like let's go, I stop it right there. It just saved me an hour of time that I can put on a focus to find somebody else. It also sets the price point. You can do this 3 ways. You can say, we're not a $100 or $200 program. You can say our services range anywhere from $500 to $3,000. However you choose to say it, you can even break it down into a weekly investment. I am letting them know right then and there that this isn't cheap. So if someone is like, whoa, like I'm only willing to invest $100, well, again, you've just saved your hour of time. The last thing is the biggest one. If they meet all of your criteria, you've got to remove all the objections prior to a final sales call. Well, what are those objections? Okay. Is your husband prepared to be on the call? Does your partner know that you're willing to make the decision? Are you prepared to make that decision right on the spot? All of these questions have to be asked during that initial call. Otherwise, they will 100% come up during the sales call. This is where everybody does it wrong. If you don't have a person, like if you have someone in your company that's doing this for you, they need to pre-call right and not be afraid to ask these questions and get a no. As a matter of fact, I'm actually telling my people, look for a no. Look for reasons why they are not a good fit. So that is a huge thing. So good pre-call practice. Make sure you're building emotion and you are getting them to buy in. You want them to be excited about hopping on the next call with you. As a matter of fact, I call the next call a kickstart coaching call because people are like, oh my God, like I'm so ready to get started. It puts whoever is making the sale, in which case me, in a higher place of profession and power. So if one of my sales team is doing it, then they're basically like, hey, you're going to speak with our program director, Andrew. Like he is like our weight loss guru and specialist. Like they are building me up. So when I hop on the call, they're like, wow, I've heard so many good things about you. You already come from a place of that higher level where you can now deliver to them more. If you are setting for yourself, well, it's the same thing. You can just say, hey, you know what? Like typically an hour of my time is $200 because I'm educated in X, Y, and Z, but we are going to take you through that. So you put yourself in that higher place of power for the sales. Remove all the objections, all of them. Ask whatever questions you want, challenge them on their level of commitment, because whatever you don't remove now is going to come up. Okay. Let them know that there is an investment. This is huge. Don't like try to like blaze through this, because this is where everyone falls off. At that point in time, they're just like, yeah, you know, so it's like, it's going to be money, but like, don't worry about that. Like, no, like tell them this is not $100 or $200. The program is going to be from $500 to $3,000, and let it sit. Let them understand that there is a level of intricacy that's actually going to be involved in this. When you book the sales call, which is that final step, do not book it more than 48 hours out. So statistically speaking, and the same thing, and FitHive knows this, and they follow good practice with this, when you're doing a challenge, they don't recommend more than 3 days. Why? Because people's level of commitment drops with their level of pain in that moment. So the longer you leave to hop on that call, the less someone feels that they need you, and they go back to doing it on their own, right? Bottom line, look for a reason as to why they're not a good fit. That's the whole purpose of the prequel. And if they're a good fit with you, then get them into the next step. So walking through a little bit of my script here before we go through where the second place is, I always ask them at the beginning, I'm going to say, hey, listen, the coaching call starts right now. Do I have permission to coach you through this? If you guys are on this call right now, write this down. Your coaching starts right now. Do I have permission to coach you through this? At that point, even if this call is 10 or 20 minutes for the prequel, you now have the authority to ask whatever you need. That's huge. The second thing is I will ask them, what are your pains? What are your struggles? How long has this been a challenge for? Why do you feel you need the help from a coach? Those are the only 4 questions you need to ask. If you guys need a script, you can just send me over a message. I'll send you guys a script. But the truth is there are so many different ways in which people will navigate from. This is just where you're asking them the concerns. Now you're going to have a little portion in the script in which you are telling people about your program. So I let them know, hey, our beginner level program is 12 weeks long. During the 12 weeks, we cover fitness, nutrition, and mindset. For the fitness part, we ask that you work out a minimum of 3 times a week. For the mindset, this is so much more than just pumping you up. We are going to teach you how to be able to get into a place where you can have the confidence to do this by yourself. And then, of course, the nutrition. We are going to teach you all the skills. This is not a meal plan. This is going to be teaching you how to eat right for your body type, how to balance hormones with your food so you can be consistent long term. You are going over the absolute bare minimum for them to understand your program, because this is not the place to ask questions about the program. This is the place for you to pre-call them. Then at that point, the most important question, does this sound like something you need in your life right now? And just wait. At that point, you have now taken the option of, so here's the next step, and you've handed it to them. They must say yes. And if they say yes, then at that point, you now have the ability to move forward and say, this is the next step. And in that case, you ask your big 3. You have them put a credit card down and you say, you know, our time is very important. Our program director's time is very important. However you want to word it, it doesn't matter. Put down a credit card and get a deposit for the call. Why? Because people who have a little bit of skin in the game are going to then show up to the next call. The next thing you say, we book the sales call no more than 24 to 48 hours out because my program director's schedule, whoever, is constantly changing. And then the third, do you have a partner that makes financial decisions with you, because they are going to have to be on the call? This is not a $100 or $200 program. You ask those 3 questions, That is going to be able to solidify the prequel. Any other objection that comes up is just going to be either they don't trust you or you haven't built up the program enough. So that goes through the prequel. Where's the second place that people mess up when it comes to high ticket and selling it? It's the actual sale. This is so huge. It's like you're building up to this point, and now they're hopping on the call, and anyone who hops on the call with you has done three things. They have made the conscious decision to say yes, knowing that they have to make a commitment, because everyone knows that. They have at this point should have done some homework on you. You should have either sent that homework, or they should have at least taken it upon themselves to look a little more into you. And the last thing is their pain is so great that at this point, they know that they need your help. So if you're screwing up on the sale, here's where the big thing is. People are failing to build the problem. That's the big one. They're failing to address the real objections in those habits. So you've got to, during this sales meeting, you've got to build that problem, build it big, build it to the point where they can't, where they feel like, wow, like I don't even know if this is tackleable anymore. You've got to address the real objections, and you've got to break down their habits. So when someone says something to you, you have to immediately say, all right, I know you've had that excuse before, but we're going to tackle it. This time's going to be different, right? Get them to say yes. Then paint the road to the success. This is how we are going to help you get to a point where you can see your end goal, because that gives them hope. And as they start to go on this emotional roller coaster with you, they're going to start to be happy about this. Then, providing they're that good fit for your program, and you're like, yes, this person is ready, then you set the expectations for the program. This is where you go into really detailed depth about what is involved in your high ticket process. What is specifically involved in the training? What is involved in the nutrition if you're doing nutrition? What's going to be involved in the accountability? When you're going to need to check in with them? What your cancellation policy is? Go through it all, because you don't want any questions. And at the end, you're going to ask them for the sale. And that's going to be huge. Now, if you've done this right, you shouldn't ask for the sale. They should be asking to work with you. If you've done it wrong, then we'll talk about, of course, the bonus round. So, good sales practice. How can you get better at selling high ticket? Record each and every one of your sales and listen to them every single day. If you are not listening to your sales on the regular, you're not understanding what your right verbal cues are, and you're also not getting a chance to listen to people's emotional cues. So not only record your sales audio, also record them video too, because people's body language will also dictate, just like I'm very flowy with my hands, will dictate to you their level of confidence and whether or not they are in fact withdrawing from you. That is huge. Record all of your sales, listen to them, and consistently improve. Same thing like I said in that 10-minute call, you are gonna ask permission to start the coaching now. That is huge, because that allows you to then ask the questions you need without any like, wow, I can't believe you asked me that. I will ask things like, it seems like your husband is your go-to excuse. Is that right? Yeah, like cut it like an axe. Cut deep, then be like, it's okay. Like, I'm asking this because I'm here to be able to help. Do not proceed if they say no to making the choice. At the very beginning of the sales call, I tell them, now we're going to go through all of this, and I'm speaking through people on the day-to-day. I'm not going to follow up with you. I'm not going to tune in 2 weeks from now to see like what your choice is. Like, this is an action-only program. So at the end of this call, you're going to let me know, yes, Andrew, I'm good to do this, or no, it's not for me. No maybes, because maybes doesn't change the place where you are right now. Is that fair to say? And get them to say yes. Because if you do not tell them that they have to make a choice, at the end of the call, guess what's going to happen? I need to think about it. Get that right out of the way. Make sure that their partner is there. So then that way, not only do they have the right people required, you know in that moment they're ready to make the choice. Don't be afraid If someone is like, yeah, you know, I don't know if I'm ready to make the choice right now, then you start with the objection handling right then and there. You question them and say, well, why? Are you always this undecisive when it comes to choices? Start the objection handling right then. Don't go through the whole script and say, oh, it's okay, we'll deal with that later, because after they know the price, that's going to be a disadvantage against you. Big thing, don't script read. Listen to them and actually connect. So I have a script, and if you guys want it, I can share it with you. The big thing though is when you read scripted, people know that it's disingenuous and they will not connect with you. So the way that I have a script set up is I have a script to set off the things that I know I need to hit, like you need to make the choice, your partner needs to be on the call, because I know I have to cover those things. The other questions like, how long have you been struggling with this? Why has this been a challenge for you? What is your biggest concern? All of those questions I'm asking from a place of care, because I am selling their goal. I am not trying to just take money from them or do whatever. I'm trying to be able to get that connection. So don't read the script verbatim, like actually listen to them and connect. Also, have a price anchor. You want to make whatever the price is that you are selling for something that hits them hard. So when you're actually talking to them about a realistic program option, they're not wowed by it. When it comes to high ticket, people don't know what high is. They don't. That varies for everyone. So when it comes to a price anchor, you want to make sure that whatever that anchor is, that's going to blow out of the water whatever they feel that high ticket is. So for example, in my company, I tell them, working with me, Andrew, the program director, it's $4,000 paid in full. You also have the option of working with one of my coaches for $2,500 over payments, or if you want to save a couple $100, we will pass over the processing fees to you. You can just do $2,000 paid in full. What works better for you? Do you see the times that I've paused, and also the way that I have hit $4,000, which is real. I'm not just making that up. If they want to work with me one-on-one, they're going to pay for it. But I really don't want them to take that choice. I want them to work with one of my coaches and my team. So I position it in a place of higher value and higher authority. So when people hear $4,000, they are genuinely stunned. And sometimes people look at me in the call like, what? Yeah, it's $4,000. And I'm dead serious about that. And at that point, they're like, wow, okay. And you can see the gears in their mind like, how am I going to come up with this money? When you then tell them what the actual price is, or what the price to work with your team is, it's going to be more feasible for them. And how you know that you have someone with the sale is when they say, well, how can I make this work versus how is this for me? So have the price anchor, because that's going to make your program more realistic. The second thing is have options to still be able to work with you. I have a lot of people who hop on a call and say, you know what, $2,000 paid in full, it's too much. $2,500 paid in full is too much. That's fine. We can break it over payments if you want. We can do it over payments, and we can do weekly or bi-weekly. Does that work better for you? Yes. In which case, you've saved a sale. If they can't do that, maybe have a 6-week or an 8-week as a downsell and say, well, I know you can't do the full program now, but I still want to make sure you get help. Why don't we start with 6 weeks? In which case we can still build up the habits. You can still lose X amount of weight, and it's only $997. You control two things. You control the length of term, and you control the price. So I don't want you to discount, because high ticket, there's no discounts. You don't discount your value. You change the length of term that someone is with you, or you change the amount of time that you're going to be servicing them. And in that case, you can adjust the price accordingly. Now let's talk about the bonus round, which is the most important part with this. If you are at the bonus round, it means you messed up. That's it. You screwed up. Either you didn't pre-qual them properly, you didn't do the sale properly, you were afraid to ask the questions, and now come the objections that you failed to miss. So on average, objection handling is about 3 to 5 objections. So at this point, either people are going to say yes, like you will break down those objections successfully and they'll say, you know what, there's nothing left, let's do it. Or they've checked out. 90% of the time when I look at calls that other people forward me, people have checked out long before they've gotten to this point. So you can even see during the consultation, or you can hear it in their voice and in their inflection, that you've already lost them. And in that case, you didn't prequel properly. This all comes from the prequel. You have to be able to ask those hard questions so they don't come up here. Now, sometimes people will lie to you. That's a valid thing, in which case they won't be necessarily truthful, or maybe someone says they can make the decision, but when they hear $2,500 price tag, they're like, wow, like I can't make a decision on that much. Could be viable. In which case, don't fight them on it, because sales is a dance, right? It's you being able to partner up with the other person you're beside with, heading to a common goal. It's not a battle, because during a battle, you have a winner or a loser. And if you are the winner as a salesperson, you've now made your client feel like crap, in which case you've lost. Now, if you don't get the sale, that means you're a loser and it means you've still lost. So no battling with this. So this is where you have to learn how to enjoy objection handling. Make it fun, keep it joking, ask for permission before you try to make the objection. And each and every time say, listen, I'm challenging you because as a coach, I want to make sure that you succeed and that you're not doing this again. Or remember the daughter that you talked about, we're doing this for her, right? Come from a place of care. Because at the end of the day, you know if they hop off the call with you, nothing will change. There is not a single person that has said, I need to think about it, or I will call you tomorrow, that has ever called back. That doesn't happen. My very first person, his name was Jason. I'm still waiting for him to call, and that was 4 years ago. He won't hop on the call again. And that's because at that point, they've lost your level of authority. So make sure that they either like say yes, or they tell you like, screw off, that's it. We're not going to do it. So that is our little intro on sales. Now, if you guys need a high ticket script or a 10-minute script, I'm more than happy. I can have Josh tag it in the video as well too. And you guys can use that. The important thing is just make sure that you're not just reading verbatim, like actually focus on the person and just make sure that you've hit the points that you need to. So at this point, I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions. So I'm here free for any questions if you need. You can drop in the chat, and then basically I'll select you guys, and we will go from there.
And then guys, you can also unmute yourself if you would like.
Everyone's like, I'm a sales master. That's it. I've got high ticket down 2,000%.
And then as of right now, Andrew.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. Yeah. Out of all of you guys, who is doing high ticket currently? Like who is charging more than $2,000 for like an 8-week or 12-week program? Anyone? You guys can unmute yourself too if that's easier. Josh, do you know what the average price point is from FitHive?
So
what the average price point that people charge is?
And so while you a question too,
while you answer that, I will answer Michael here. Hey, Michael, script would be helpful for reference if you don't mind want to compare. Absolutely, and I can send that over to you. Or actually, you know what? What's easier for you? You want me to just send it over to you, Michael, or?
Yeah, that's fine.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
The dream, brother. That's it. So where do you have a script that you've built yourself, or where'd you pick up your script from?
I've gotten scripts from other coaching programs, but again, like I said, I like to compare because I'm just now gonna start doing high ticket programs, and so again, I want to compare because I'm sure there's stuff that I'm missing, so I just want to compare, what's working with you to what I have and see what gaps I need to fill in.
Right. Now, question for you. Are you doing this to organic people, or are you selling on the regular people from that are really colder people from hats? Or do you do a little both?
I'm going to do them organic.
Okay. You're going to have higher levels of success with organic without a script, to be honest with you. Because at this point, you should have enough communication with people. Like when I'm messaging people back and forth on Facebook, the majority of the people, so I do two things. I'm 100% all into Facebook ads. I have a regular budget that I spend, and I get an average of anywhere from a 2 to 6 to 1 return on that. And that's working very well. Selling cold people is a challenge because you have to put the authority so high. There has to be so much homework and so back end done. Selling organic people, there's a benefit because if you're like myself, you probably have a Facebook group, you're probably tagging them in videos, you're giving so much value that at that point when they're hopping on the phone with you, like people for organic, I'm talking like two friends, right? I'm like, hey, Michael, how are you? Like, what's good? Like, what type of support you need? Like, oh man, you've been struggling with this for 3 years. Like, shit, like that. It's super, super organic. Where I don't even go by a script. I just make sure that I'm just hitting my pre-qual points, right? And then on the sales part, I mean, where I do get a little more scripted is like what's involved in the program because I want to make sure that I'm not missing any of my check-ins, any of my cancellation protocols, any of that. So that way, when they get the contract, they're ready to sign right then and there on the call, and it just increases that success as well. But absolutely, I'll send it over to you. Actually, you know what? Give me a private thing if you want. I can send it straight to your email, whatever's easier for you. Okay?
All right, I'll do that. Thank you.
Cool. Josh, most gym owners in general have between 100 to 150. So the benefit about using FitHive, and to be honest with you, you guys can charge whatever you want. It doesn't matter. For group training and to be able to have access to nutrition plans, if you are fully utilizing FitHive's platform, there are so many additional add-ons on there. It's very, very easy to justify $59 a week. If people aren't doing an easy $49.59 a week, it's too low, and that's right now in the space, especially if you're doing virtual stuff as well. There's not enough of a margin there, at least for me personally, to be able to over deliver. I want to send my clients random gifts. I want to be able to call them at random and be like, hey, listen, I know it's your lunch hour, what's going on? Because for me, that's the small things that keep me, I have a 92% retention rate. And I've had clients that are paying $1,000 a month for close to 4 years now. And the difference between them continuing to renew is because I'm like son Andrew and less like coach Andrew. And that's huge, right? So that's, if you guys are in that price point, even if you're doing general group training, you can very easily just upsell nutrition or upsell live workouts and add additional $50 to your back end, right? Raquel, we do group training and we've never done a high ticket program. What is your advice when transitioning over? More specifically, getting the people to see the value. If you are asking the question, getting the people to see the value, then you don't see the value yourself. That's just being straight up. Because I know when I hop on a call with someone, I deliver such a shit ton that it's not how do we sell someone a high ticket, it's how do we give someone even 40 times more support. And that's the big thing. You have to believe the value in yourself. You've got to hype it up so much in here that when you hop on a call with someone and you're just talking about it, they're like, wow, if they think it's this amazing, it's going to be this amazing for me. Selling existing members is easy. And that's because They already have the relationship with you. So if you go to your client and you're like, hey, Megan, like, I know that you've lost this much weight now, or I know that you've been loving the absolute classic, like, for you to be able to like 3x your results in half the time, like, all we have to do is just add X, Y, and Z, and they're going to be like, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm getting more support. I'm getting more check-ins. I'm getting to spend more time with you. Yeah. Then in that case, it's not a matter about like, of what is the cost. It's how can I afford it? And that's where you want the clients to be able to do that. So what is your advice on transitioning over? Start with 4 to 5 core members. Get super solid video testimonials for them. And if you've got a private Facebook group or something, video and record the entire process. So if you have 4 to 5 really solid core members that are like, holy shit, this high ticket program was amazing, you can then talk it up, and then you're not just saying, hey, join this program that's never been quote unquote tested with any of our people. It's like, hey, come join John, Peter, Sally, and Matthew because they just crushed it and you should be crushing it too. If that makes sense, right? Now, high ticket, if you've never sold high ticket before, or you've never sold any larger package programs before, you're safe to start with 8 weeks. 8 weeks is long enough for people to see results, and you can do like 8 weeks for like 1,000 or 1,500, and like that would be like an easy sale for you. Okay. For our programs, I sell 2,500 to 4,000 on the day-to-day, and that's just for 12 weeks. My year-long program is $25,000. That's my year-long program. Now, I give them a $2,000 discount if they paid in full for $23,000, which is fine, or they can do split it into monthly payments, whatever. But when I do that, understand as well too, you can only sell a program to the level that you can deliver. So I'm not going to charge $25,000 and put them into an automated system and they never hear from me once. Not only do I not think that's valuable, they're going to cancel within the first month, right? If I'm selling someone in a $25,000 program, they're getting personal calls with me. They are getting random messages from me. I'm going to call them. I'm going to call their spouses, not because I have to, but because I can. I'm going to send them gifts. I'm going to give them, you know, a $30 Audible book. It's often really, really small stuff, but it's at a point where people are like, wow, this was a lot of delivery. Does that make sense? So if you're going to, like, the higher you charge, the higher you have to deliver. So I hope that helps, Raquel. Golden. Any other questions on high ticket or even like objection handling? Like, what are you guys doing for a prequel right now? Or do you guys even have a prequel?
Yeah, like Raquel, not yet. But do you have to do that on the phone call versus like, say, like a questionnaire or something like that? Or does it make a difference?
If so let's play this out, right? If I sat down with you, right, and you looked at my ad, you looked at my post, and you were like, wow, that was amazing, okay? And you click to learn more, and then all of a sudden you get a sheet, okay? And the sheet's very disingenuous. Hey, insert name here, or maybe not, okay? Hey, member, hey, prospect, right? You ever get one of those, right? And then bam, you've got this questionnaire, and it's like, are you willing to seriously invest in yourself? On a level of 1 to 20, is your commitment 20? How much money do you make back at? Like, when you start asking questions like that and people haven't even met you yet, their level of like, okay, well, this isn't for me, like, they're gonna take a step back real quick. What should be on a pre-call, if you're gonna send a questionnaire, what are your goals? What are you looking to achieve? What have you tried? Why is this important to you? Because it makes them think. And when they start then bringing up pain mentally, and then the next step is to book a call, they're like, you know what, this person came from a place of care. They didn't ask, or like, what is your investment? Whatever. You can say like, hey, you know, like, are you prepared to invest in yourself? You can put that. That's a, you know, a very reasonable question. But the more questions you put, the less likely you are of getting someone to take the next step. So there's that fine balance. For me, like I said, I'm not about volume. This does work in volume, and that's totally fine, right? It's just with volume, you're going to have more misses than you're going to have hits. I would rather have 4 calls a week, but those 4 calls be 100% yeses that are going to move forward, than have 30 calls a week that you're going to spend an extra 30 hours of work and maybe only get the same 4 or 5 people, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Cool. Anyone else? What about Mr. Anthony? I see Mr. Anthony's a ninja there, just chilling, just hiding in the back there. If you've got any questions, ask them now. That's the most important thing. So if you guys want, of course, a copy of the slides or anything like that, more than happy to send them over. Michael, I'll make sure, of course, to send you the prequel, and I'll even send you what I have for sales as well too. And then if you need anything like that, for those of you who are going to be watching the replay, if you do want the sales of the prequel script, just shoot an email over to Andrew at actually, I'll type it in the chat. That way. There we go. You can send it over there, or you can message Josh, and Josh will actually connect it to the script as well too. So, Raquel, I will send that to you too. Cool. Yeah, so guys, take down my email if you have any questions there. So yeah, so I hope you guys got a lot of value with that. And I mean, the big thing, I cannot stress this enough. When it comes to high ticket, don't be afraid to tell someone they're not a good fit. Often we want people to so badly to just like us, like right out the gate. But the truth is, you're not going to work with everyone. And there's over millions of people each and every day. Like, the pond you live in will never be tapped out. You're always going to have clients. You're always going to have prospects. So like, if this one is not the best one, then move on to the next one. That's kind of my final advice there. So awesome. All right, you
Can I
guys.
have a quick question real quick?
Yes.
Cause I think I missed like the beginning of the call. Now, you're all virtual, like online, or are you doing yours out of a studio as well, or a mix of both, or how are you doing it?
Great question. So I used to have a studio. I do 100% online now. I made the decision a couple of months ago when COVID started to move 100% online. For me, like, this process works both ways. If you have a facility, you can easily have a phone call for their pre-qualification and then book to a consultation in person. To be honest with you, consultations in person actually result in a higher sales percentage. And that's because people are right there, and it's very hard for them to not ghost you or to not show up or be like, oh, my credit card is in another place. Like, they're right in front of you, right? They drove there. So this works both ways. Reason why I did online is, one, because I want to be able to help more people just outside rather than just the Oakville area. And the second thing is, for me, because of what we do is such a high level and is based more off of accountability than it is off of workouts, I no longer needed to have such a high overhead for the smallest part of my business. Like, training is now the smallest part of my business, because people want to pay you for workouts, but the truth is they're paying you for your knowledge and your support and your check-ins. So yeah, for me, like, we now have FitHive's app in which we're giving them the workouts they need. We do live sessions twice a day if they want to do that. But the majority of the time, we give them a custom program and they do the workouts on their own.
Cool.
That's big. Excellent. All right, cool beans. So, not a problem.
I've recorded this, so I'm going to put it in the file section of our Facebook group so you guys can go back and look at it. I'll also put in Andrew's information, and then he'll send you over some stuff. And then I know he hasn't said anything about it, but he also has a really cool course coming out. So I'd keep an eye out for that. I'll get that posted. So if you want to really deep dive in with Andrew and get some one-on-one coaching, you can do that. And like he said there, everything that he showed you today is built, and he is using the FitHive system, which is a beautiful thing. So everything that he's talking about can be done there. If you have any questions on that, if you know exactly what you need to have happen, you can also email success@myfithive.com, and they can kind of show you around or help you kind of structure the system. They won't know exactly Andrew's process, obviously. You'd have to get that from him. But on the support side, FitHive is here to help in any way.
Yeah, and that's a big one as well too. And thank you so much, of course, Josh, for not only having me on this, but also bringing up as well too. I used to be the kind of guy that ran like 15 different softwares. You don't need to. Every single thing from my client communication to the email sequences to the nurture sequence, everything is run through FitHive. And you guys can do a lot more than you probably realize on there. We do everything from our landing pages to even the newsletters. Like, there is so much that you can be able to do with that. So I encourage you guys, like, if you're not familiar with how to use those things, utilize it, because every time you're not sending out a nurture email, or every time you're not sending an automated like check-in sequence, like it's just additional touch points that you can add that you don't have to put extra work into, right? For me, I'm like, I have a 4-person team. And for a 4-person team, I mean, just with service training alone, we do an average of $45,000 a month. Like, you don't have to have 1 million people to be able to like develop a process. FitHive has the systems that are there. So talk to Josh, talk to their team to be able to build it right and utilize it all. So that's what I will give you as advice there.
Cool. By the way, I think somebody posted a question in the chat right at the end. I'm not sure if you guys saw it or not.
Oh, okay. Oh, Anthony, no, I didn't. I will answer this very quick, and then I know that Josh, you probably have to head off. So what exactly do you offer in your online high ticket program, if you don't mind me asking? 100%. So I've got the fitness part. So the fitness part, I give them a customized training routine, and that's all through FitHive. So we have all of our people pre-film the exercises. With that, they get the community section in the app as well too. I have it broken down into specific communities based off of specific programs. So a certain amount of people will get kind of like a big brother or big sister, and they're going to be the person that they communicate to. Constant messaging on the support. By constant, I don't mean 24 hours. You guys are crazy if you're offering that. I do 8 to 8. So they can message whenever they want, as long as it's 8 to 8, Monday through Friday. Our teams be able to get you back. For the nutrition, in Canada, I'm not sure where you're tuning from, Anthony, you have to be a certified nutritionist or dietitian to give someone a meal plan. So what I do is I use the meal tools to give them dietary guidance. So I will basically, like, I zero out like the amounts and the grams, and I create a plan that basically just shows them healthier food items so they can make better choices. If you're in the States, obviously you can use that part of the software, so go ahead and use that as well too. And then besides that, we also use the scheduling system to book weekly group coaching calls. So I do 2 weekly group coaching calls. I do one of them for a higher level program, or year long, and I do one for our 12-week. So each and every Friday, I hop on and I just use the class schedule. You can also set it up in the appointments too, where they hop in, and then it's everyone just like you see here, and they're asking questions and I'm helping give them support. The only other thing that I'm slowly transitioning away from, besides of course the people who want to work with me exclusively, is I'm leaning more towards group accountability. You can also add in one-on-one accountability, which I have some of my coaches doing right now, which is basically just booking check-ins through the software. So you set it up through the appointments, and we have members that do bi-weekly check-ins with their coach. And that's it, man. Like, I wish it was more complicated, but it's not. So that's it. Hopefully that answers your question, Anthony. So excellent. And thank you guys, of course, for so much for having me on here. And like Josh said, if you have any questions or anything like that, or want to know kind of a little more about this process, then you can, of course, reach out to me, and I'll make sure that we can help. Okay.